there, and welcome to the Penelope Possum channel. With me, your host is Penelope the Possum. This is The Masterpiece by unknown author. With an average rating of 4.5 stars, 10 hearts, and 43 comments. Published on April 10th, 2013. I have been laying down for hours now. It's 5:35 a.m. And there's not much I can do. You know what the worst part about my situation is? I'm in the same room with my parents. They keep looking at me, and I can't help but to look back and try not to cry or scream. Their eyes are focused on me, and their mouths are wide open. There's the strong scent of blood, and I feel so paralyzed with fear. Here's the thing. The second I make any hint that I'm not asleep anymore, I'm completely fucked. I will die, and there's nobody around to save me. I've been trying to think of a way out, but the only idea I have is to rush for the door and run outside, the front door, and scream for help, hoping any neighbors hear me. It's risky, but if I stay here, I'll surely die. He's waiting for me to wake up and see his masterpiece. You're probably wondering what's going on. I do get ahead of myself sometimes. About 3 hours ago, I heard screaming from the other side of the house. I got up and went to check on the noise before realizing I had to use the restroom. Instead of doing the smart thing and investigating, I used the bathroom first. I could have gotten myself killed right then from my stupid actions, but I actually did my business and took a peek outside the bathroom. There was blood on the carpet. I got very worried and ran back to my room, hiding under my sheets like the pussy I was. I tried to convince myself to go back to sleep. It was some very vivid dream or something. But I heard my bedroom door open. Like the terrified child I was, I peeked from under my blankets to see what was going on. I could see something dragging my dead parents into the room. It was not human, I can tell you that. It was hairless, with no eyes and no clothing. It walked like a caveman, with its back slouched as it dragged my parents. This thing was much smarter than any caveman. It was aware of what it was doing. It propped up my dad on the edge of my bed and made him face me, and sat my mother down in the chair and positioned her towards me as well, then started rubbing its hands upon the walls, staining them with blood, and then drew a circle with the devil's pentagram in it. This thing had made what it would probably call a masterpiece. To finish it off, it scribbled a message onto the wall that I could not read in the darkness. It then positioned itself under my bed, waiting to strike. The scariest thing is now, my eyes have adjusted to the darkness since then, and I can read the message on the wall. I don't want to look at it, because it's terrifying to think about, but I feel I need to see before I'm killed. I peek at the creature's masterpiece. I know you're awake. And that was Masterpiece by unknown author. I will do one more reading really quick, maybe. Here we go. We'll just do this one. Actually, let's load a few more just in case. I wish they could organize them by read times. I think they should be fine. This is The Expressionless by Expressionless. This was published August 22nd, 2013, with an average rating of 3.7 stars, 2 hearts, and 34 comments. In June 1972, a woman appeared in Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles, California, in nothing but a white blood-covered gown. Now this in itself should not be too surprising, as people often have accidents nearby and come to the nearest hospital for medical attention. But there were 2 things that caused people who saw her to vomit and flee in terror. The first being that she wasn't exactly human. She resembled something close to a mannequin, but had the dexterity and fluidity of a normal human being. Her face was as flawless as a mannequin's, devoid of eyebrows and smeared makeup. There was a kitten clamped in her jaws so unnaturally tight that no teeth could be seen. Blood was still squirting out over her gown and onto the floor. She then pulled it out of her mouth and tossed it aside and collapsed. From the moment she stepped through the entrance to when she was taken to a hospital room and cleaned up before being prepped for sedation, she was completely calm, expressionless, and motionless. The doctors thought it best to restrain her until authorities could arrive, and she did not protest. They were unable to get any kind of response from her, and most staff members felt too uncomfortable to look directly at her for more than a few seconds. But the second staff tried to sedate her, she fought back with extreme force. 2 members of staff had to hold her down as her body rose up on the bed with that same blank expression. She turned her emotionless eyes towards the male doctor and did something unusual. She smiled. As she did, the female doctor screamed and let go out of shock. In the woman's mouth were not human teeth, but long, sharp spikes, too long for her mouth to close fully without causing any damage. The male doctor stared back at her for a moment before asking, "What in the hell are you?" She cracked her neck down to her shoulder to observe him, still smiling. There was a long pause. The security had been alerted and could be heard coming down the hallway. As she heard them approach, she darted forward, sinking her teeth into the front of his throat, ripping out his jugular and letting him fall to the floor, gasping for air as he choked on his own blood. She stood up and leaned over him, face coming dangerously close to his as life faded from his eyes. She leaned closer and whispered in his ears, "I am God." The doctor's eyes filled with fear as he watched her calmly walk away to greet the security men. His last ever sight would be watching her feast on them one by one. Female doctor who survived the incident named her the Expressionless, and there was never a sighting of her again. And this was Spooky Scary Saturday number 78. That was the Expressionless and Masterpiece. Thanks for hanging out with me today, possums. As you might have noticed, the intro and outro were recorded separately from each episode. But as always, please remember to stay out of traffic, stay out of engine compartments, stay out of any small spaces you could get trapped in, stay hydrated, stay awesome, possums. I love you all. Have a good time. Have a good time, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Hope to hang out with you again soon, possum.